It's Tuesday, October 7th. We're watching for the potential for a storm off the East Coast, plus multiple winter storms possible across the West, and one of them could be a doozy. We'll talk about that. An area of low pressure is developing off the East Coast. There could be some tropical characteristics. Either way, a battering for the Outer Banks again continues. Several things coming together across the West in the form of tropical moisture, downpours, and maybe one heck of a winter storm trying to develop, and it could stay quite stormy across the West with multiple winter storms ahead. Not everywhere though, many of you dealing with some really hot temperatures, and that's going to continue. In fact, you may get a bit of a break, but it's going to return. Here's what we're looking at as we move through today into Wednesday now. Our front moving to the east, we're drying out across the upper Midwest, into the Midwest, into the Northeast. After some rain as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, by Thursday, high pressure settling in across the Great Lakes. Showers and storms across the Southwest, and we've got this upper low off the West Coast. Really three features that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. This is going to come together across the Pacific Northwest. It's going to bring some rain, some snow here. And as this cold air dives in from the north, we're going to turn chilly across Western Canada, also the Northwest. It'll be interesting to watch these snow levels drop here across the northern Rockies as we head into the weekend. At the same time, you're bringing some moisture north. The overnight European still trying to show some snow back here as we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So we're still talking about a week out, but this could be one heck of a storm. Now, as we head into Wednesday, really over a week away, the European is trying to develop a really strong low somewhere here across the plains. I could see how this happens, right? One of these lee side lows, once they get east of the mountains, they really start to wrap up. Is this an October snow for some of you across North and South Dakota, maybe back into Wyoming and Montana? This could be. We'll have to wait and see on that because it is still pretty far out. And then beyond this, I think we stay active and stormy across the West. Let's look at what's going on here right off the East Coast. We're going to start here and work our way back across the country. This is the European ensemble guidance overnight, bringing an area of low pressure north. Now, there are a lot of characteristics with this storm that keep it extra tropical, not necessarily a tropical storm or cyclone or hurricane. But I'm going to tell you something. The water is warm still here. Anytime you get this type of development, I think you have to keep an eye on it. The National Hurricane Center doesn't have it plotted out, but look at this, guys. This is the European full run of the ensemble guidance of the idea of where a tropical depression may develop. The fact that it's even showing up is impressive alone. So we may not be dealing with a textbook type nor'easter that may be getting talked about right now. Almost a bit of a hybrid look here on this storm, in my opinion. More on that in just a second, but look at the rain that we're going to be dealing with today, stretching from the Great Lakes back through the Ohio Valley, down into the parts of the South. That rain moving through Tennessee, also Mississippi and Alabama. So a big slug of rain moving into West Virginia as we head into tonight. Also Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, eventually into Connecticut, Massachusetts, all across the Northeast. Quite a bit of shower activity moving here. Now we start to turn our attention to where this front goes and how it starts to interact with an area of low pressure that starts to develop along the tail end of it. This is the overnight European. Going to fast forward it through. There goes our front. And then by the time we get into Thursday and Friday, low pressure starts to develop. Now, this is the overnight European. The timing is a little bit slower with developing this low, not until Friday and Saturday. But wherever this goes, whatever the characteristics, whether it does get the thunderstorms developing around the core of the storm and it becomes a warm core storm, a tropical system, to me that doesn't matter at this point. This is one heck of a storm bringing in battering winds along the Outer Banks, which have just seen so much destruction on those barrier islands in the last couple of weeks. With more wind, more rain, that's going to be a big problem here, regardless, again, of track. So something to keep an eye on over the coming days. Another thing to keep an eye on, too, many of you are going to be dealing with some cooler temperatures as we head into the next couple of days anyway. Here's a look at your temperatures today. Tonight, that cool air continues to sag to the south, so by the time you get into Wednesday afternoon, here's a look at your temperatures. So we'll be in the 50s and maybe even some 40s up across parts of southern Ontario. Still hot across the deep, deep south in the 80s and 90s right along the Gulf Coast. That cool air continues to slide south as we head into the overnight. Temperatures dropping into the 30s into parts of West Virginia. It also into Pennsylvania, into the Northeast, also into Michigan. And then as we head into now, Thursday? Highs much cooler across the South, 70s for Georgia. Macon may not get into the mid-70s, so much cooler across the deep South. Further to the west, we do have some showers across parts of the plains into Oklahoma, into Kansas as we head through the day today. We do see a drying trend across this region, maybe a few storms across parts of New Mexico too. Some of these could get strong to be severe as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Some downpours possible with any of these, so anytime you get heavy rain in this part of the country, flash flooding is always a concern. And then as we head into tonight, we lose the heating of the day, so the storms also lose their energy, not quite as strong. And then tomorrow, we do it again, pretty much across the same region. So more showers and storms, not just Wednesday, but also into Thursday across this area with quite a bit of moisture hanging around. There's a look at your Thursday morning lows. We start to warm up with those lows across the plains and then highs as we head into Thursday, back up into the 80s as far north as Kansas, maybe even parts of Nebraska and eastern Colorado. Across the west, very active here as we start to see things really shift up. Kind of quiet, though, across the Pacific Northwest for now, but we're bringing in some showers and some snow into the mountains of British Columbia as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. There's your rain across the far southwest. I want to show this upper low and its impacts as we head into Friday, also into Saturday across the west. We're bringing that tropical moisture north into the Rockies, too, into the far southwest, so that's going to bring some rain. And here comes the cold, diving in from the north. Watch this as we head now into Sunday. We're still pretty far out on this. It tries to bring some snow here into the mountains. This is the GFS. It looks a little bit different than the European, which was really robust for showing some kind of decent winter storm. The GFS not quite on board with that idea as we head into next week. I think it still needs to be watched. More to come on this. Here's a look at your temperatures across the west today. Again, kind of cold across the west as we start the early morning hours, especially into the mountains. Highs this afternoon warming up nicely, especially east of the mountains here across Montana into Alberta, Saskatchewan. We're talking about 60s and 70s. Enjoy it because we are going to see a bit of a cool down here. Here comes that cold air as we head into Wednesday. I'm going to move pretty quickly. Thursday morning, well below freezing, especially once you get north of the border. And then as we head into Friday, Saturday, into Sunday, there comes some real cold air trying to get tapped into early next week. If you're wondering about the rest of winter, we were looking at the conditions as we head into winter, at least globally, talking about some big patterns. In fact, there's more snow across the northern hemisphere than there's been in the last 2 years. We'll talk about what that means in this video. If you've not seen it, check it out.